Hello and welcome to Hank Games Without Hank. My name is John Green. I'm the manager of the Swindon Town Swoodly Poopers, and today we're taking on the Bolton Wanderers in the Premier League. Got to win this game, and we don't have our A team because they're exhausted after a heroic victory. So we've got D. McGoldrylocks up front, along with Jesus Angel. We've got French the Lana back from injury. Leroy Williamson anchoring the middle. And we're just going to do our best here. Today we're going to continue the Why Am I Google autofill. Meredith asks questions of Google beginning Why Am I and then going through each letter. And then I answer those questions to the best of my ability. I think we left off with yesterday or whenever with Why Am I in college, in which I argue that college is usually a good investment. What's next? Why am I jealous? Well, as we've seen, the whole why am I Google phenomenon is why am I human? And I think you're jealous because you're human, because people, they like to be acknowledged and loved. And it's often not enough to be loved. They want to be loved alone. Like, the great moment in The Great Gatsby when it's not enough for Daisy to say that she loves Gatsby. She has to say that she never loved Tom Buchanan. We feel less loved if we feel like we aren't alone in being loved. But often that takes the form not of like an awareness that you need to be acknowledged, but of like a desire to possess someone. Usually, it must be said, a desire by men. Oh, nice defense there, boys. A desire by men to possess women, which ultimately results in treating them not like humans but like objects, and also too often results in violence and stalking and all kinds of really awful, sickening criminal behaviors. So, I think there's a way of acknowledging jealousy and that desire to be loved alone while still comprehending that it's not realistic or possible, and that you can't ask of others what you yourself and indeed like no human being could ever provide. So that's why you're jealous. It's okay to be jealous. It's just not okay to respond to the jealousy in like weird ways. And if you find yourself doing that, you need to, oh, yes! Oh, it's D. McGoldrylocks. He's big, he's red, he's found the perfect bed. D. McGoldrylocks. I mean, look at that finishing quality. He closes so well, and then his beautiful head. I mean, that guy gives arguably the best head of the entire Swindon Town Swoodly Pooper squad. Context is everything. What's next? Why am I kicking people in my sleep? It might be, huh? Why am I kicking in my sleep? All right, not why am I kicking people in my sleep. That reminds me of a great line from an Israeli short story writer, Edgar Kuran, who said there are two kinds of people in this world, those who sleep next to the wall and those who sleep next to the people who kick them out of bed. Yeah, so you're kicking in your sleep maybe because you have restless leg syndrome. This why am I business is a hypochondriacal dream come true. Yes, I believe you might have restless leg syndrome, which is treatable. There's a drug for it. I don't know how well it works, but you see advertisements for it all the time on the television programs. Yeah, so that's I think that's why you're kicking in your sleep, is because of your restless leg syndrome. I don't know what causes it. I haven't done that much study on it because it's one of the few diseases that I do not myself have, or at least consider myself to have. Oh, don't pull that back for a non-existent foul. No, Mark Anderson has it. That guy founded Netscape. You don't think he can make that save? All right, what's next? Why am I lazy? I mean, I suspect that you're not lazy. I suspect that you feel like you're lazy, or you feel like you're inadequately productive. Like, one of the reasons that we're lazy is that we were not designed to do nearly as much work as we do. Like, life in the days of hunting and gathering was, by most accounts, much easier in terms of number of work hours compared to number of leisure/family time hours. It's hard to say that family time is really leisure when you have children and a 30% chance of dying in childbirth or whatever. But yeah, so that's why I think because you weren't designed like this. But I mean, I think also a lot of times like what is called laziness may be other problems. It may be it may be depression. It may be feeling unworthy. It may be all kinds of things that get lumped together as laziness unfairly. Maybe like you have a different way of paying attention or a different way of learning or whatever. So you just have to try to be. My experience, and maybe this isn't everyone's experience. My experience is that being mean to yourself just does not do any good on this front. That you have to try to be like you have to push yourself, but while still being like forgiving and understanding of yourself, instead of being a total jerk to yourself, because that never results in anything good. That was not a foul. I got right in front of him and I gave him a nice hug, and I fell down while I gave it to him. But that's not against the rules. 1-0 at halftime. Jesus Angel, he's clapping, he's feeling good, he's patting people on the back. He's a leader, He's not our best player, although he did put in a great cross, but he's a leader. All right, what's next? Why am I mean? That's a great question from Meredith, who's notoriously mean. Why am I mean? I think, well, sometimes we're just like angry, and the only way to like deal with that anger is, or like it feels like the only way to like let that anger out is to be short with someone or mean to someone. So I think a lot of times it's like an overwhelmed nervous system that causes meanness. D. McGoldrylocks off the post. It should have been, but it wasn't. Don't worry. S. Holden Goldfield has the ball. He passes it in. D. McGoldrylocks is still there. But Jesus Angel is like, you know what? I never score. Where are my goals? Oh, it's because you get dispossessed all the time, Jesus Angel. Admittedly, I should not have been hitting the turbo button in the box. I apologize to my friends and family. All right. Oh, that was set up nicely, but it didn't work. Yeah. But it's good to acknowledge. I think like the main thing that you can do, or that I try to do, because I can be quite mean sometimes, is to acknowledge when I've been mean and try to apologize for it, and also try to, not like forgive it, but try to explain like, here is why I think this happened. And it wasn't your fault or anything. Oh, Jesus Angel, you've got to score in that situation. I put you in front of the goal. Oh, there's Fabrice Muamba, by the way, who in real life went 72 minutes without his heart beating on his own after he collapsed at a game against Tottenham, but survived, and while he was forced to retire from the game, it remains active and I think still works for Bolton. So he is a huge inspiration. And I love playing FIFA 11 because he's still in the game, which is, I don't know, it's like both sad and beautiful to me. Oh! French la 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 French la la la. Yes! French la 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 lana with a fantastic goal from out on the wing. All right, what's next? I mean, am I wrong that the Swoodly Poopers are suddenly massively improved? It's like we had those 2 losses during the Project for Awesome, and everyone was like, that's unacceptable. Let's get better, way better. Oh, get the ball! All right, what's next? Why am I not getting pregnant? Oh, man, it's so fun. It's, when I was a kid, I believed, and I really don't want to change this belief in the minds of my young viewers necessarily, but I believed that if you had unprotected sex, you got pregnant. Like that was how it worked. Like that there was a 1-to-1 ratio of incidents of unprotected sex and pregnancies. And like that's why I was always confused why anyone anywhere would ever not have protected sex, because I did not want a baby. It turns out that while it's funny because when you're younger, that is often the case. Like people tend, at least statistically, tend to be it tends to be much easier for them to get pregnant. And then when you're 30 or whatever, and what just happened? How did that occur? That was a very good hug. You know what? I'll give Bolton Wanderers credit for the quality of that hug. It was between the knees and everything. He seemed to score that with his hand, for the record, but okay, it's 2-1. I mean, it's just a goal extravaganza with the new Swoodly Poopers. So, yeah, it turns out that it's not that easy, at least for a lot of people, and certainly, like, it wasn't easy. It's not always easy, And there are a lot of reasons why there could be a problem, and the only thing you can do is not go to Google, but go to your doctor. But yeah, it's frustrating because I don't know. My thought was always like, when you decide to have a kid, you just have sex once, and then you get a kid. But for a lot of people, it's much more complicated than that. For some people, it's that simple, but for most people, particularly if you're old, like me, it's a little different. What's next? Why am I on Google? That's so meta. Um, you're on Google because it's the best search engine in the world, and I'm not just saying that because they own the website that allows me to be a semi-professional FIFA player. I'm saying it because it's true. No, I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's better than Bing, but Bing sets an exceptionally low bar. What's next? Why am I poor? Because the bourgeois control the means of production. Everyone knows that. That is really what I believe, though. Not to sound like a Marxist, because I'm not, but yeah, I mean, you're poor because structurally things are set up so that relatively few will be rich and relatively many will be poor. However, if you can Google why am I poor, you're probably not nearly as poor as people who live in, what's called absolute poverty, which is defined these days as living on less than $1.25 a day. But the truth is, like, living in absolute poverty is one kind of poverty, but living in relative poverty, that is like poverty relative to the income in your country or your community, is still poverty, and it's still crushing and extremely difficult to get out of. And one of the things that I think people don't take into account is how relatively easy it is to stay middle class or rich once you are middle class or rich, and how hard it is to escape from poverty. In other news, our opponents are smelling their pits in shame because the Swindon Town Swoodly Poopers have won another game. We did it with our B team, and it was beautiful. Thank you for watching. Best wishes.